Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. In this one we're going to be looking at my team selection for game week 12, and we're going to have a quick look back at how I got on in game week 11. So you can see it on screen. Had a ridiculous week, a season turning week to be honest. As you can see, 95 points and a game week rank of 13k. And now an overall rank of 492k, and that is up from 1.8 million in game week 10. So huge rank jump, and yeah, a few things just went very, very well for me. So to start with, Fabianski with 9 points. Now I wildcarded in game week 10, and my plan was to basically play Fabianski in game week 10 and game week 11, where West Ham had Forest and then West Ham had Everton. Meanwhile, Verbruggen on the bench had Liverpool and City. So that was kind of my thinking. And then from game week 12 onwards, Brighton have really good fixtures, so I'll then play Verbruggen. That has kind of worked out really, really well for me with Fabianski's 9-pointer. So really happy with that. Aït-Nouri grabbed 6 points. That could have been even more, to be honest. The whole defence, actually, my 3 defenders, really kind of weirdly underwhelming in a week where I did so well. They all could have done so much more. So Aït-Nouri, so close to an assist towards the end. He put a ball in and I don't know who it was in the box, but they couldn't quite get in on the end of it. Trent obviously went off injured in the first half, and Liverpool went on to keep a clean sheet, so he could have had a clean sheet. And Dalot came off in the 57th minute, and again Man United went on to keep a clean sheet, so he could have had a clean sheet as well. So the defence could have been way more, but can't say I'm unhappy with anything, to be honest. Getting onto the midfield, that's where things started to go really well. So obviously Salah, 14 points. Saturday night, I was kind of wishing that I'd captained Salah, thinking that I'm not sure Bruno Fernandes can really... I thought it was a good week to go against the popular pick, essentially. Don't have Haaland. Palmer was playing Arsenal, I think, or Palmer was playing someone good anyway. And Salah had Aston Villa. Now that was a good fixture, especially as it was at home. But the matchup for Bruno Fernandes and Man United was just perfect. So, I mean, Leicester concede most of their chances through the central areas. Bruno Fernandes' numbers were just picking up steam week after week over the last few weeks. So I knew a big haul was coming, but he had 3 good fixtures, so I wasn't sure when it was going to come, of course. But everything was kind of right there. And yeah, I just thought that this is a good week. There wasn't like a really standout option, although Salah probably was better than most of the other options. There wasn't like a massive standout. So I thought this is a good week to go a little bit different. So went for Bruno Fernandes. He obviously got 17 points. And like I say, I was wishing I captained Salah after Saturday night once I saw that he got a goal and assist and 14 points. I thought Bruno Fernandes has got a lot to do to match or better that. But he did. Absolutely brilliant. Garnacho didn't start, which I found a bit of a weird one. There was talk about it kind of before the game week started. I didn't really buy into that too much. I didn't really get it. Just because, for me, people were saying that Garnacho had a few pretty bad performances before game week 11. But what I was kind of thinking is that Rashford's been considerably worse for a long amount of time. Garnacho was pretty good at the start of this season. He was also very good last season, whereas Rashford hasn't actually been great for a while. But he was benched anyway, came on and scored an absolute wonder goal. And that goal was absolutely fantastic. So that was the goal where Bruno Fernandes passed it to Garnacho and Garnacho scored. I had both of them in my team. Nothing better than someone you've got in your team assisting someone else you've got in your team. But especially when one of them's your captain, and especially when they're both... Bruno Fernandes is quite low owned, but captaincy-wise, he was a big differential for me. Garnacho was a pretty big differential as well, so that goal was huge for my rank. Then had Palmer. He got 2 points. Not too disappointed, really. I mean, I wasn't expecting loads from that game anyway, so not too bothered by that. Then Mbomo, 5 points, nothing to really write home about. He grabbed an assist, but Wissa is taking kind of a lot of goal threat for that Bournemouth team now. So, yeah, Mbomo is not as involved as he was when Wissa was out, but he will still absolutely tick along. Could even be a captaincy option in game week 13, but we'll talk about that next week. Up front, Cunha with 12 points. He scored an absolute wonder goal as well, and then his assist was fantastic. So that went absolutely brilliantly because he was actually a differential weirdly as well. He was under 10% owned, which was nice. And then I did have a benching headache between Raul and Jackson. I wasn't really sure where to go with it. It was kind of 50-50 leading up to the deadline, but Jackson was playing Arsenal and Raul obviously had a better fixture, so I just went with the fixtures, even though I knew that, well, they're both not nailed for 90, but Raul's been coming off slightly earlier. But yeah, there wasn't much in it, only 3 points in it, so not too fussed. Lewis, I did know Lewis was going to be starting, or I think we knew, did we get a leak? Maybe we didn't get a leak, I'm not too sure. But I thought he'd start anyway, but it didn't really matter. I was never going to play him over the 3 defenders I had, and that was absolutely fine anyway. To be honest, I can't see myself playing him that often going forward, unless we get leaks, which I'm not sure where City stand in how close their game is to the deadline over the coming weeks. But a lot of my defenders are just better options most of the week, so even if we do get leaks, I'm not sure that I'll be playing him too much, annoyingly. But at the moment, he's not really worth selling because he's not really a bad bench option to have most weeks. Anderson with the 7 points, I was never actually planning to play him anyway, so not too annoyed at that 7 points on the bench. Glad I've got him going forward because he is a nice cheap option, and Fulham they've got a mixed bag in terms of fixtures, but there's a couple of weeks where I'll potentially play him. Game week 12 being one of them, so let's look at my team for game week 12. Okay, so goalkeepers and defenders are on screen now. I've got some benching headaches this week, and this position is one of them. Not the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper, I'm definitely playing for Bruggen in goal over Fabianski, but the defenders are an issue. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be benching Lewis. That's one that I am quite set on, I think. Even if he is leaked to start or we find out he's going to start, then I think I'll probably still bench him, given that the Tottenham attack is still one of the best in the league, even though it really was disappointing against Ipswich. They've been more disappointing against the worst teams, so not that you can really go off that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll be benching Lewis anyway. It's the other 4 that I've got an issue with. So Dalot, we don't know what Amorim's going to play or where he's going to play Dalot, if he's going to play Dalot, but I can't see a world where I don't start Dalot in this game with Ipswich away. So I think he's kind of fine. The benching headache really is Ait-Nouri or Anderson. Now, they obviously play in the same fixture, and I've got the similar situation in the forwards with Raul and Cunha, but we'll get onto that. Ait-Nouri and Anderson, I do think that Fulham have the much, much better chance of a clean sheet in this game. Fulham defence is not bad, especially at home, but Ait-Nouri's attacking threat is always there every single game, so I'm not really sure where I'll land on that. The option I've got is, well, if Trent is out, then there's a world where I can transfer him out for Gabriel probably. If Trent is out, I can just play Ait-Nouri and Anderson. Kind of hate having 2 defenders from the same game, but maybe it's just the play anyway. Anyway, onto Trent. Yeah, so need more information about how bad Trent's injury is, whether he's fine, whether he's not. But it does sound like he probably misses this game regardless, because they have 2 pretty important fixtures after. They've got, I think, Real Madrid and then City, so they'll want Trent for those games, so I highly doubt he is risked for this Southampton game. So like I say, I do have 2 free transfers. I've got 0.2 million in the bank, so I could transfer out Trent and bring in Gabriel for some of Arsenal's nice fixtures. But if Trent's going to be back pretty soon, I just don't really know if I need to make that move. I'm not really sure I want Trent long term anyway, but it's more that I don't know where I want the funds. As in, if I go to Gabriel, I could then get to a point in a couple of weeks where I want to get Saka in my team and I need some more funds. And what I should have then done is done Trent down to someone cheaper. So it's more that, I don't know what future moves I'll want. That's the reason that I'd potentially be keeping Trent. But yeah, like I say, we'll need to kind of know a bit more information on him from the press conferences to make a decision on that. But let's move on to the midfielders. Right, so we've got Salah as captain with Southampton away. Can't really see that changing much, to be honest. Obviously, Bruno's got a good fixture with Ipswich away, and Palmer's got a very good fixture with Leicester away, but I think Salah's the one this week. If I had Haaland, then it would be a conversation, because Spurs' defence is a mess, to be honest. So, but I don't. So I will likely be sticking with Salah captain. I've got Bruno Fernandes, Ipswich away, as I mentioned. The fact it's an away game is probably the only reason why he's not going to be considered up there as well. But happy to have him, and he's got a lovely home game next week. Garnacho is an interesting one. If he starts and plays, then buzzing with him. But there's a very high chance he doesn't, given it's tough to know where he'll fit into Amarim's system. We've seen training videos, and it looks like Amarim is going to pretty much bring in his 3/5 at the back with the 2 10s behind the striker. Looks like he's going to bring that in pretty quickly, straight from the get-go. So it's tough to know where Garnacho fits in this. If it's wing-back, that's not the end of the world, because at Sporting, Amarim's wing-backs were very attacking. So don't hate it necessarily. If it's one of the two behind the striker, again, brilliant. Although you'd imagine Bruno feels one of them. And then the other one is potentially Garnacho or Ahmad. Who knows? Maybe Rashford as well. Although Rashford could be up top. It's all a guessing game, really. But I'm just going to hope he starts, I think, unless we get anything really concrete that he's not going to start. In which case, I can bench him. But if not, then fine. Palmer has Leicester away, as I mentioned. A brilliant fixture. I'm really happy to have him for this one. And then Mbomo again, another nice fixture, Everton away. There is a world where I sell Mbomo in a couple of weeks. Not this week, obviously, Everton away. And next week, he's got a fantastic home fixture. So we'll be keeping him for those. Not expecting loads this week, just because Brentford seem to be this weird team where at home they're incredible and then away from home they're pretty poor. But that could have been a fixtures thing. So we'll see how they get on this week. But yeah, that's the midfield. And two up top, I've got Jackson with Leicester away as well. Really glad that he didn't get a yellow card last week against Arsenal, because didn't want him to be missing this fixture. And then again, I've got a benching headache between Cunha and Raul. At the moment, I've got Cunha in there, but I genuinely am 50-50 between Cunha and Raul. It could be the home fixture for Raul that swings it, but Cunha's got better minutes, so it's really tough. Similar with Anderson and Ait-Nouri. Again, that is, to be honest, quite a 50-50. Not sure where I'll land on either of them yet, but I do kind of want to find a place for Raul in the team. This is it for now. In terms of transfers, as I mentioned, I've got 2 free transfers, 0.2 million in the bank. The only transfer I'm considering, to be honest, is Trent out. If he, well, I think we kind of know he's going to miss this game anyway. But yeah, Trent to probably Gabriel would be the only transfer that I consider. I am, again, I've said this about a few different things, but I am pretty 50-50 on whether to do that move or whether to roll. Luckily, I've got enough depth where I can roll, but it won't be optimal playing Anderson and Ait-Nouri. Obviously, I could play Lewis, but I don't really fancy that either. So that's where I am currently for Gameweek 12. If you like the video, hit the like button, it really helps, and make sure you subscribe. Not actually that far off 1,000 subscribers now, and I'd love to get there I'd love to get there by the end of the year. That'd be pretty cool. So yeah, hit subscribe, hit like, and I'll see you in the next one.